Yeah.
All right, good evening. Time is 5 p.m. It is January 23rd, 2025. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. It's January 21st. There's the wrong agenda. January 21st, 2025. It's a regularly scheduled meeting of the Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. At this time, we will determine if a quorum is present.
Leona McDade, present.
Josh Western, present.
Rich McDowell, present.
Leanne Arthur, present.
Matt Slayton, present.
Craig Hawksworth, present.
And I, Sam Slayton, present. We do have a quorum established. The time remains 5 p.m. and we will adjourn to executive session. All right, good evening. The time is 6:02 p.m. We have returned from executive session. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve action items as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
All right, Dr. McDade, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Matthew Slate with a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. And now we have our friends from the 6th grade center. Mrs. Williams, you want to do some introductions?
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having 6th grade center here. Ms. Gilbert and I say thank you for including our students to lead you in the pledges. I'm going to let them come up to the mic, introduce themselves, and tell you something they enjoy about our 6th grade center.
All right.
My name's Max Troseth, and the thing I like about Argyle 6th grade center is lunch, where we can talk and have fun with our friends.
Hello, my name's Leonardo Salcedo. My favorite thing about SGC is how friendly it is.
Hello, my name is Theodore Brown. My favorite thing about SGC is the amazing food they provide.
Hello, my name is Miles Sims, and my favorite thing about the 6th grade center is all the amazing teachers that we have.
Hello, my name is Eric Allen. My favorite thing at SGC is all my amazing friends there with me.
My name is Hannah Taylor, and my favorite thing about SGC is hanging out with my friends.
Hi, I'm Josie Clark, and my favorite thing about SGC is the fantastic staff.
Hi, my name is Asiebu Angel, and my favorite thing about the SGC is how everyone is so friendly, and the teachers, they're just so amazing.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tinsley Walters, and my favorite thing about SGC is how the teachers take time out of their way to help the students get where they need to be.
All right. Thank you all. Well, let y'all lead us in the pledges now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Rick, are we take pictures, Rick? We're well turned.
Yes. If y'all can all turn around, just push out.
Don't be jealous. Cut it down off to help you.
Okay, here we go. Parents can take a photo too, jump in. Here we go. Great job, thank you guys. Good job.
Mr. Hawksworth, if you'll lead us in prayer.
Sure. I'm gonna wait till I go.
It's your call.
Okay. Dear Lord, we come to you tonight asking for peace and discernment for this board. Please be with the students and staff during each and every day. We continue to ask for your guidance in bringing this community together to do what is in the best interest of students and not ourselves. We love you, God, and are so grateful for all the blessings you continually bestow upon this district. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Recognitions?
We can skip on down to
Okay,
consent
nope.
if you'd like to.
Yeah, let's do
Nope,
that.
we got some recognitions to do tonight. So it is January, and every January in the state of Texas, declared by our governor, it is School Board Appreciation Month. And so we want to take a little bit of time this evening to recognize the 7 individuals that sit up here on the dais monthly, or every time we have a meeting, they're up here. But you also see them all around our buildings. So I have something I want to read to you. Each January, we honor the dedicated individuals who tirelessly serve their communities as volunteers, our school board members. School boards oversee the operation of local public schools and work to ensure that students are getting a high-quality education and that the district is in line with the values of the community. School Board Recognition Month is an opportunity to show trustees how much we appreciate their work, their leadership, and their commitment to improving our schools. The 2025 School Board Recognition theme is Leadership for Tomorrow's Texas, which is a very fitting theme as we are educating over 6,000 of Texas's tomorrow each day here in Argyle ISD. As trustees volunteer their time and expertise to guide school districts, they showcase their commitment by creating meaningful educational experiences and opportunities that prepare our students and support our teachers. Everyone sitting up here this evening gives more time and attention to their roles than any other place I've experienced. And one of the things that stands out to us, or I know for me personally, is they take full days off of their own job, because they all have jobs. They take full days off of work to come out on our campuses and spend time in our classrooms, learning about our teachers, about our students, and about our staff. That's a big ask, and they don't even hesitate when we ask them to join us on campuses. So tonight, to show our appreciation, our campuses have all prepared some amazing banners. I know we spent a lot of time up here looking at your portraits, so South, great job right here on the portraits. And they also had a special treat in the back when they came in this evening from our Argyle High School Student Council. They provided charcuterie, little charcuterie treats, and some succulents. So thank you to the Argyle High School Student Council for providing that. And then additionally, if you will look right in front of you, you have a beautiful charcuterie board that has been hand created for you by a former student. Mr. Slayton, you want to hold yours up? And this, we've partnered with Argyle High School student Ryan Macrath who creates personalized charcuterie boards for each of you. You can see your name on there with the logo. Ryan was so happy to help us with this project and did an incredible job. He is a 2023 graduate. He was a National Merit Finalist, if you'll remember that. And he's now an honors student at Texas A&M studying interdisciplinary engineering. Go ahead, I knew you were going to do it.
Already did.
Okay.
Already
And not only does he have a long list of academic achievements, Ryan has been running his own woodworking business called Texas Carvings for several years. He made these while he was home from college on winter break, and it's so great to see one of our very own Eagles providing you with a special memoir this evening. So just a small token of our gratitude and appreciation for you, and we hope these boards provide a special memory for you. So I would just like to say on behalf of district administration and our staff, thank you for your time, your talents, and your treasures that you provide each and every day in this district. So
Thank you, Dr. Carpenter.
take your charcuterie boards. Take your boards. It's a board wood. All right, moving on. So tonight we have a special recognition for one of our very successful athletic programs. So if you remember back in December, we had a fall all extracurricular night where we recognized students and staff that had earned accolades throughout the semester. But at that particular night, our football team was still in the playoffs. And so we told them that we would bring them back here in January and celebrate that team. So I want to bring forward Coach Todd Rogers at the podium, and as he's coming up, I want to just share a little bit about the team, and then of course he's going to have some words to share. But this is an undefeated district season for the second straight year in 5A. They were our Region 1 champions, 14-1 record with a 14-game win streak, and the state semifinalists for the second time in 3 years. Coach Rogers, the podium is yours.
We
Welcome.
can just stop right there. That's good. Now, our program is very strong right now. We have lots of really good players. We're losing some fabulous athletes that are moving on to just aspirations after college. Many of our kids are exhausted with football, and they're going to move on to be fraternity brothers and join other aspects. But some of our kids are going to be playing college football. So kudos to them. It's a huge and amazing accomplishment to do that. I'm going to have the kids come up and introduce themselves, but we had a very successful year. Obviously, facing Long Star to open up and then ending it with South Oak Cliff, two of the top teams in the state of Texas. But I think being realigned to Mansfield, we'd never been in a 9-team district before. I feel like the NFL coaches, when they talk about the thirds, first third, middle third, and then the last third, trying to break the season up into sections so you can do it. So I thought it was a huge accomplishment. It was a new uncharted waters for us, and we've got a really strong team coming back. We had 2 juniors that were nominated captains. One of those is here tonight, and so I've asked them to, you see a helmet out there with shoulder pads and cleats, right? It's really no different than when they're little bitty right there. And so let them come up here, and you can kind of see the face that goes with it. And they walk down the hallways, and certainly the accomplishments they've made are amazing. So I'll have them introduce themselves, and I'll close.
My name is Weston Cheney. I played offensive line. I'm a senior this year, and I wore number 64.
He's the team captain.
Team captain.
The kids vote for the captains. That's not my hand-picked anointing.
My name is Will Krzyzak. I'm a receiver, or number 1. I'm a senior.
He signed with Harvard.
That's right.
Hello, my name is McGuire Gasperson. I played quarterback, and I'm a junior and wore number 11.
Hello, my name's Garrett Westrom. I wore number 2. I played safety, and I was voted team captain.
Very nice.
My name's Luke Lane. I played cornerback. I wore number 3.
Go ahead and tell them what else you want to tell them. You dislocated your
shoulder?
I
dislocated my shoulder 8 times this season.
I know.
That's an
It's a record.
It's a record.
Yeah.
My name's Solomon. I played defensive line. I wore number 50.
So some of the things that we do, I'm glad Solomon's here. We get to go out and get to see little eagles. That's very special. It started off as an adopt an athlete program many, many years ago. I have my daughter's getting married in February, and I still have a picture of her Brady Brown's helmet on. So the opportunity for them to go out is a very special, unique exercise. Our program was 10-0 at the JV level. It was 8-2 at the 9th grade level. Ninth grade A-team level, and it was 7-3. So our program is very healthy. It gets the school year started off right. Every administrator in this building knows that when you have a good football team, you can get to Christmas like that. And it just kind of makes the fall go past. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come in front of you. I love the support that we get at this level. It's only critical that we get support at every level because our program needs that. It needs its community support, it needs its admin support, and it needs its board support for us to successfully accomplish this. We just need to figure out some way to get past South Oak Cliff. Got any ideas? I'll take them. Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
Stand
we have a special video we're going to play for School Board Appreciation and then finish out with our final recognition.
Thank you for providing the tools we need to be successful in the classroom.
Trustees, thank you so much for the instructional support that you approved this year for us and for genuinely supporting and encouraging the staff members in Argyle ISD.
Thank you for our amazing libraries.
On behalf of the middle school band program, I'd like to say thank you for your support of fine arts.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton.
Dada, thank you so much for always supporting the Argyle Band program.
And cheering on me in the Majestics.
We love you!
Thank you for our awesome playgrounds.
School Board Trustees, your hard work makes a difference every day.
Thank you, Mr. Hawksworth.
Thank you, Dad, for always cheering me on and supporting our athletic programs.
Thank you, school board, for the resources to keep our schools safe.
Your support for our ESL program and students means the world to us.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton. Dad, thank you for making our schools a great place to learn.
Thank you, School Board, for supporting our STEM program at our middle school.
Dr. McDade, thank you so much for all of your continued support for the band program and the fine arts programs here at Argyle.
Thank you, Dr. McDade.
School Board, thank you for your continued support with our growing school and community.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell.
Thank you, Dad, and Argyle ISD School Board for supporting middle school athletics.
Thank you, Dad, for your commitment to making this an awesome community.
On behalf of the staff here at Argyle High School, I would like to thank our school board for everything that you do for us, including the support of all of our programming. UIL Academics is near to my heart, and we appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you, Mrs. Arthur. Thank you, Mom, for everything you do for our schools.
Mom, thank you for being so passionate about supporting Argyle. It means the world to us. We love you.
Thank you, School Board. Together we soar. Thank you, Mr. Westrom.
Thanks, Dad, for all the hard work you do for this school district.
Thank you, Dad, for being my #1 fan and supporting all of Argyle's sports programs.
Thanks, Dad, for your hard work and dedication.
Thank you, trustees, for supporting our Argyle STEM curriculum.
Thank you for our awesome teachers.
School Board, thank you for providing the resources we need to learn more about social media marketing.
Thank you for making JRE a super fun place to learn.
Thank you, School Board, for supporting all of our CTE programs.
We love that you support our art programs.
We appreciate you giving our talent students the opportunity to take experience inside and outside of the classroom.
Thank you for the best teachers in the world. Thank you for our lunches.
Thank you, School Board, for always supporting teachers and students.
Thank you for making Argyle ISD our happy place.
It's Mr. K here at Argyle South, and thank you so much, School Board, for supporting the music program.
Thank you, School Board. Thank you for making our schools a great place to learn.
Thank you, School Board, for making Argyle ISD a special place.
Thank you, School Board. School Board, you're the best.
Where's the lens? You want to look right here. Okay.
you will say, thank you. And you will say, school board.
No, we're not. Yes.
Ready, go.
Thank you.
Ready, look at the lens, not me. Look. Okay.
Bro, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Okay, good job. Good job.
Ready, go.
School board.
Wait for him to say it.
Ready.
So, Mr. Heron, how much time with them did you get to spend?
It was 4 minutes that I watched and like belly laughed like 5 times.
It was good stuff. It was good stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate it. Give your teacher.
I do. All right. So the last group we'd like to recognize this evening is a very special group. We had the opportunity to start a Superintendent Teacher Advisory Council this year, as well as a Student Advisory Council. But we asked the teachers to come this evening because they have. I wanted to recognize them in front of the board, also in front of our community, for the time that they've been given. We have 14 teachers that were invited to join the council. And those are teachers that were Teachers of the Year either 2 years ago or last year, and so they're serving in 1 and 2 year increments. And really the purpose of having them together is to provide feedback, to kind of be the voice between the campus and district administration, allow us to ask them questions, go back and get feedback, come back, and you'll see one of our agenda items tonight is because of the work that they've done, and just greatly appreciate them. I know it's a lot of time. Sometimes whenever they are the liaison between the campus and district administration, they're having to go ask some tough questions and collect some tough feedback, and it puts them in a difficult position sometimes, but we appreciate that. And so I would just like to express my gratitude for them for the time that they're serving. In fact, we have our next meeting this Thursday, and give you the opportunity if you'd like to say a few things to them. But I'm going to introduce them, and then if the board would like to visit with them for a moment, we'll open the floor. So from South Elementary, we have Lisa Schreck and Bev Wright. Are y'all here? Come on up. From Hilltop, Amy Ball and Ashley Cooley. Argyle West, Martha Murphy and Jamie Murphy. They are not related. In fact, what do y'all call yourselves? Remember? Twins? Yeah, and that y'all call twins because Martha Murphy is very tall, and she's at a basketball game tonight, so she's not here this evening because she's watching the Lady Eagles play. Jane Russman, Alexa Mouton, and Crystal Sims. 6th grade center, Dana Pelt and Katie Taylor. Middle school, Caroline Edwards and Christy Thetford. And from the high school, Lori McClanahan and Jennifer Hadley. And I think Miss Hadley was on the video, weren't you? Yeah, and so was Miss Pelt. I think Miss Pelt was on there too.
The outtakes of me.
Yes. So we'll recognize them, take a picture, and then I'll let y'all say a few words to them.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring them over here so they get over the podium. Y'all wanna come over?
So I know you have teacher voices, but don't be afraid of the microphone.
I was going to say, who's the spokesperson?
Come on up to the microphone. One of the agenda items tonight that we're actually going to talk about is some of the input that y'all got from your teachers about and your staff members just about retention ideas and during our difficult and budget challenges, just some ideas that would help. And so we will be talking with them this evening. I know we've tried to do a few things already, but I just wanted to give them an opportunity to ask y'all any questions or so.
So having a teacher advisory council is not new to me. I've had one for 23 years at my house. So
Council of one.
a council of one.
It's important.
But with that being said, I'd love to get a couple of y'all's perspective on something that surprised you about this process, or something you've gained from it that you didn't expect.
Don't make us call them.
Can you step up to the mic, because we're recording. You are live.
So I think one of the things that I've gotten from this is just more of a sense of community between not just high school to administration, but across grade levels. I think we're all feeling similar things, and so just hearing, that we're all in the same group together and we're feeling supported, I think speaks volumes, and that we're able to take that to the other teachers and say, hey, we're listening, things are happening, and just really feeling that sense of family. And I think that's one of the things that makes Argyle special, is that there is that sense of family. Do I have
Thank you.
anything to add?
You got a whole round of applause from him.
I don't know that I really have a question, but I just want to say thank you. I've known some of you for a long time. We do life together in other places and through our kids, and some of you've had my kids, and just to see you continue to be here and raise your hand to get involved, and it says a lot. And you talk about Argyle being a family. I mean, it really is. I know we were all nervous years ago that we're growing and we're going to lose it. We've been able to keep a lot of that together as a result of you guys' hard work. So just thanks for every day coming to school, and positive attitude for the kids, and that's why we're all here, right? So thank you.
And I'll say this, I'll say thank you, and I'll say I'm sorry. And I'm sorry because I know what your profession's going through, and I know the attacks that are being made that are above us, that are state and national, and how politicized your job has become. And so I thank you for hanging in there as we go weather this storm. And I think there's brighter days in front of us as we rally to defend your profession in public education. And I know that's a commitment of mine, and I know that's a commitment of a lot of ours. And so, a lot of great things we want to do, we couldn't do this year, and I hope that we can do things going forward to address some of the challenges that you guys are facing on the front lines. And if I had any feedback for you, I don't have a question, but as you're participating in this teacher advisory council, one of the hardest things for me as a board member, and I said this before, we're in it for the students and the teachers, but I can't talk to you guys as much, okay? And that's just the way the system's set up, is there's just layers between the board and the teachers. And so I love this teacher advisory council because it's a way for you guys to speak up for your profession, to communicate what your challenges are, and for us to get that kind of the feedback. And so as you're participating in this, I would say, let us know what you're needing from and I know money is a big deal, but one thing I talk about in a budget workshop is, do you want money, or are you looking for support? Are you looking for both? People, I know a lot of y'all don't do it for money. And do you want more support? And communicate those things and those ideas, because I think you've got a creative board that's willing to go to work for you. Thank you.
Now, I was going to ditto all of that. I mean, they said some things that I already kind of had in my head. I will tell you, as an educator, I've seen other boards around in other places. I'm sure some of you have too. But I can tell you with all sincerity that these, I'll count Dr. Carpenter in here, the 7 people that are sitting up here with me, always, everything we do is all about the teachers and about the kids. And we don't get in the weeds about anything else, and all the decisions we make. It was very, very difficult, I know, for us to not be able to give you a raise this year. I remember my stomach rolling on that one, because it's very hard, and we know what you do every day and everything that they've talked about. My own child went through, I know one of you I know had them, so over there, I'm just trying to ferret that out. And had a great experience. I mean, all you guys are awesome, and we're here to support you. And like I said, we always, teachers and kids come first with us, always. So thank you for everything you do.
I would like to say thank you. And we appreciate your honest feedback. We might not always have the answer or not be able to give you the answer we want to give you. But I just appreciate you guys being bought in and sharing what you share. And just thank you for what you do for our children.
And we'll go another time. We'll say it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know a number of you have had some of my kids I've known. I won't name any names. I've known one of you guys a long, long time, high school. But, you know, I've seen what you guys do on your campuses. I've heard great things about all of you, and I'm glad that you're part of this committee, and I look forward to getting input. I think it's valuable. I hope you guys feel it's valuable. You know, we think it's going to be a great tool going forward. So I just thank you for everything you do and all this extra time you're putting into this particular council. So thank you.
And thank you. I know I've seen a lot of you. My kids have had a lot of you. It really is a special district, and it's because of teachers like you. And I know people say that, but it really is true. You are some of the best. We've got to be in your classrooms, us just this past week, and it's really incredible to see every classroom. There's like a different vibe to the room, but the kids are always happy, they're always engaged, and that's really a gift. As a mother of 9, that is a gift. So we appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to give feedback. I know we've discussed as a board that what we want is just to hear from the people that we're making decisions on behalf of. So thank you for taking time to do this in addition to all the other things you're already required to do. So thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all being here this evening. You're welcome to stay, but you're welcome to go as well. Okay, we are streaming online if you'd like to watch it at home, where it's nice and warm. So thank you so much for being here this evening, and we'll see you Thursday. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You have one more thing, or you're gonna have to skip that?
I'm skipping it.
All right, sounds good.
That's okay.
It's fine
It's
with
in
me.
there, but I talked about it.
It's fine with me. All right, we're gonna move into the public forum section of tonight's meeting. I know this is what everyone's ready for, is my reading. So here we go. We have 5 people signed up this evening to speak. So we'll now move into public forum. Please note that board policy requires speakers to sign up in person before the meeting is called to order. During this portion of the meeting, board members will listen to comments, but as the designated spokesperson, only the president may respond to the speaker if needed and refer concerns to the appropriate administrator. Speakers can comment on agenda items, but trustees will not be able to discuss the items until they are before the board during the meeting. Board policy BED local provides the presiding officer the ability to adjust the time allotted per speaker for effective meeting management. Pursuant to that policy, an individual's comments to the board at tonight's meeting shall not exceed 5 minutes. The presiding officer may reduce the allotted time for each individual to speak to no less than 1 minute for effective meeting management. Speakers are not allowed to receive time from other individuals. Tonight, each speaker will receive 5 minutes. Specific complaints about individual district personnel are to be processed through the district's grievance policies as set out in district policies DBA, FNG, and/or GF. Speakers are not permitted to refer to individual students or employees by name during the public comment period. Additionally, if you have a pending grievance that may come before the board in a level 3 hearing, please refrain from addressing the topic of your grievance except through the grievance process. Per board policy BED and this board's operating procedures, the board will not allow disruption of the board meeting by members of the public If, after one warning from the presiding officer, any person continues to disrupt the meeting by words or actions, the person will be removed from the meeting. Whew.
There you go.
All right. Okay, tonight, first going is Bryant Garson. All right. Good evening, Mr. Garson. The time will be up on the screen right here. Mr. Herron's taking care of that. When you have 1 minute left, Mr. Slayton here will tell you have 1 minute left. All right, the time is yours.
Good evening, Dr. Carpenter and board trustees. I am Bryant Garson. I live here in Canyon Falls, and I'll be talking tonight about middle school zoning. As a native of Denton County, I have seen the area change dramatically over the years, with small rural towns becoming suburban towns and school classifications changing from 2A to 4A and 5A. But with growth comes numerous challenges, including new schools and school zoning. My wife and I chose the Canyon Falls neighborhood as there's both an elementary school and a high school in the neighborhood. And currently the schools are located in the west zone of the school district. At the Board of Trustees meeting in December, there were numerous individuals from the far northern part of Argyle ISD within the city of Denton that spoke about being zoned to the high school in Canyon Falls and not to the proposed high school on 377 because they would have to drive past the 377 high school to get to the Canyon Falls High School. An official press release a few days after the December Board of Trustees meeting indicated that the land at First Ranch, right across from Canyon Falls, right over there, would be the location of a middle school and elementary school if the voters approved a possible bond that would provide that funding. It is my understanding, and according to the district documents, that the First Ranch schools would be in the east zone and would feed into the high school on 377. If that is true, then the students that live in the northernmost part of Argyle ISD would have to drive all the way down to the southern part of Argyle ISD to the First Ranch Middle School, bypassing the 6th grade center on Crawford Road and the middle school on 407. Additionally, students that live in Canyon Falls would not go to the middle school on First Ranch, which is right across 377 from the neighborhood. Some students in Canyon Falls could even see the First Ranch Middle School from their house, but would have to go to the middle school on 407 and the 6th grade center. This makes no sense. The school district is going to have school buses transporting students from the southern part of the school district to the schools in the northern part of the school district, while also running buses from the northern part of the school district to the schools in the southern part of the school district, bypassing each other on 377 or I-35. Also, I was curious about the commute difference if my son could go to the middle school on First Ranch versus the 6th grade center in the 407 middle school. So I ran the numbers. If my wife and or I would drop off our son at the middle school on First Ranch, it would take less than 5 minutes for an approximate 1.6 mile drive. Over a school year, our son would commute about 576 miles round trip to the First Ranch Middle School. If the school district zone stayed current, and if he doesn't have to ride a bus, his commute time would triple to the 6th grade center, going approximately 5.5 miles each way, while doubling the commute time to the 407 middle school, going approximately 5 miles each way. Over a school year, he would commute 1,980 miles to the 6th grade center and 1,800 miles to the 407 middle school. During his 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years, he would commute an approximate 1,728 miles to the First Ranch Middle School. But with an approximate total of 5,580 miles to the 6th grade center and 407 middle school. His commute mileage would be over 3 times longer if he has to go to the 6th grade center and the 407 middle school versus going to the First Ranch Middle School. In fact, he would spend more miles and time on the road commuting to school in 1 year to the 6th grade center or the 407 middle school than his entire 3 years going to the First Ranch Middle School. I can only imagine how long the commute time and mileage would be if he had to ride a bus, not to mention the additional school traffic the district based on the current middle school zoning. Thank you for your time, and I plan to stay until the end of the meeting if the Board of Trustees would like to discuss this matter more. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Zach Wilhite. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you all for your time today.
Yes.
I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
I was just saying, the time's yours.
Okay, thanks, sir. My name is Zach Wilhite. I live in Harvest, and our oldest two go to Jerry. They, assuming the zoning stays the same, which I know that'll probably change, but our youngest will go there as well here in next fall. So, and then my son, side note, my son will go to the 6th grade center, and then he'll be at the new middle school. So he'll be at 4 schools in 4 years. Not here to talk about that, but just a side note. So I want to follow up a little bit, slightly on a public statement that I'd made last time I was here, or last school board meeting. But actually, I changed a little bit when I heard what you were talking about today, and then also read some of the board packet, or what I got, public information of the board packet, which I greatly appreciate. Some of that shared beforehand. But one of those is related to budgeting. So I've noticed this throughout the years that, and I understand why, is that the budgeted amount was based on the demographer's report, which I brought up last time is off, and I appreciated someone put it as the header on the report this time, that it's about 400, and I can't remember the exact number, 405 students more than what was in the budget, is what's there now. So just doing some kind of back of the napkin math, that would mean roughly, if it's pure cash and you just look at the state allotment, the amount per student, you're going to end up with about a net positive of about $1 million. $1.2 million too low now, so you'll be about $1 million over the top of the budget. Now, I don't know, so maybe some of that's pre-spent, but I just wanted to mention and ask the board to consider designating any of those extra funds over zero toward teachers and toward supporting those teachers. And specifically, I would ask that the board consider looking at where those additional students are at, and potentially looking at allocating a larger amount to where the larger influx is at for any over the top of that. So that's all I have for today. I just want to say thank you all for your time, and appreciate it. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Acela Spiegelberg, you're next. Good evening.
Hi.
The time is yours.
Thank you. I was actually unaware that gentleman before me had actually spoken about what I'm going to speak about today, but I think mine's is a little bit off from that. So last year when you guys were doing all the budget discussions, I had actually come up here and talked about my concerns regarding cutting campus budgets by 10%, while also adding the copying costs to each campus, especially at the elementary school level, where they tend to make more copies because the kids can't be on the Chromebooks as much. So this year I have been really just keeping an eye on my kids' folder. I have a 2nd grader at JRE, and I noticed that it is much thinner than it used to be, including the fact that they don't even print out 2nd grade spelling lists. My assumption would be maybe to save some money. So this past week I decided, had a little bit of time, and I started looking for campus budgets, but I couldn't find any of those online. I did, however, find the administration budgets, and on the 2nd page of each budget report, it reads, our current enrollment is, in October, it was 6,097. This month, in January, it's 6,213. And our budget is built on the demographer's projection of 5,805 students. I couldn't find a record. I started looking for a record of the snapshot, which I know you guys send to the state in October. And that's where you receive your funding, from the snapshot that you guys send in October. So I'm going to assume that it was the October number in the budget report, the 6,097. So then from there, I went on and I started looking for what was the campus budgets based on, right? Because I'm assuming it's based on the number of students enrolled at each school. And in the August budget report, it actually does state that. The 5,805 is based on all the students that they were projecting for the school year. And I also realized that there are no amendments to the budget to increase that amount. The January one very clearly states our budget is built on the demographer's projection of 5,805 students. So when you think about JRE, it has 599 students projected in August. In October, they had approximately 840 students. It's now January, they have approximately 900 students. But they are receiving a budget for 599 students, which is 33% less than Hilltop, West, and South. I was flabbergasted. I've had complaints about this board and the administration, both in the past. This is probably the worst thing that I have encountered. We are halfway into the school district, and JRE has remarkably less money per student than the other elementary schools. And you guys read these budgets every month. You guys are aware that they are receiving money for 599 students. And yet, I believe the number is they're getting 6 new kids a week on average. With 840 kids in October when you sent your snapshot in, and I believe if they haven't hit 900 yet, they're about to. So I'm going to ask you very nicely that you work on an amendment to make sure that JRE is receiving the proper amount of funding, especially since the snapshot for 6,097 in October should cover the 840 approximate students that we had in October. And ideally, that you compensate them for the months that they have been behind so much. Our kids at JRE, which is a very diverse group of children with parents, many of them have parents that are immigrants, they deserve the tools that they need, the tools that the kids at the other elementary schools in the district have. And so do our teachers. They're working with significantly less money, and they shouldn't be. And frankly, I'm disappointed that no one has realized this up until this point, until me bringing it up today. So, that's it.
Mr. Campus budgets, how much is JRE used in their campus budget this year?
I looked at all of them today. They're still under half, all elementary districts.
So they still over half their budget that they haven't even used yet?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, next speaker is Jeanette Lulls. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. So during the construction of JRE, when the zones for Argyle West were being redrawn, I had asked the board to propose several options and that the line be drawn east to west via Cleveland Gibbs rather than north to south on Old Justin, as this made the most sense for the traffic flow. One option was presented to the public and the line was drawn on Old Justin, and those of us who bought a house across the street from west were told we had to go to the new school. I continued to advocate for myself and my neighbors here, and grandfathering was accepted, and I thank you for that, except 16th Street was split in half. I continued again to the board and to Dr. Carpenter for my children, and the 10 or so that were down the other half of 16th Street, and was told no, because according to the predictions and Zonda predictions, these 12 or so children would put Argyle West over capacity and potentially require an additional teacher. So I'd like to read the numbers I found according to the district's website. Argyle West currently has 661 students enrolled, JRE 891, Hilltop 778, and South 787. So Argyle West has the least amount of students enrolled and JRE the highest. JRE is already within 5 months of operating over capacity. JRE's capacity is listed at 850 and houses are continuing to be constructed within its boundaries. Again, the actual student count there is now 891. As the district continues to grow, it's important to manage this growth responsibly. This includes the plans for the new middle school and high school. The lines currently drawn have West, JRE, and South funneling into one middle and high school, and then Hilltop mostly on its own. Argyle's newer growth is within the previous 3 elementary schools I just mentioned, so it almost appears as if we are being segregated from the new Argyle and the old. And I'm sure that is not the intentions of the district, but if you run the demographics, you'll see that Hilltop reported 81% Caucasian, 11% Hispanic, and 2% Asian or Pacific Islander. Argyle South, 51% Caucasian, 22% Asian, 16% Hispanic. West, 67% Caucasian, 14% Hispanic, 10% Asian. I was getting conflicting info on JRE, likely because it's new, but I am told that it was last 47% Caucasian. So I would like to know, please, what the district plans are, if any, for diversifying both middle and high schools that are proposed, and for allocating additional funds to JRE as we are way over anticipated in actual capacity, and for managing future growth. And I would ask that additional methods for analyzing and forecasting be incorporated, as the ones used prior were not accurate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker tonight, Humaira Hassan.
Hello,
Good evening.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you for your time to the school board and to you, Dr. Carpenter. I appreciate you guys allowing us to come and speak. My name is Humaira Hassan. I am a mother to 3 students at Argyle AISD, and I have 1 more incoming in the fall of 2026 as a kindergartner. I'm here today to just share some feedback as well about the zoning of the elementary schools in particular. I am actually on 16th Street on the north side, so I did get rezoned. Unfortunately, was not grandfathered in, and it seems like there is talks again about JRE and Argyle West being rezoned again this fall. And although I absolutely love and adore both schools and the staff and everything, I am a little disappointed that there wasn't as grandfathering allowed this past school year for the Harvest residents to stay at West. And I'd love to see less disruption in the future and not more. I have young children. My oldest right now is a 5th grader, so fortunately he's able to walk home with my younger 2 who are in 2nd and 1st grade. Next year, as he goes to the 6th grade center, I'm kind of worried, are these kids going to end up the wrong street, wrong house, being only in 3rd and 2nd grade, walking home. I love that they can walk home. Families in the north part of Harvest should be allowed to choose where they go, and all future developments should be taken into consideration when they are planning for the zoning and rezoning. And I did write that in last year when there was talks about it, and I had a feeling that we were going to get rezoned at least by the time my daughter got to maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. Unfortunately, though, again, my across the street neighbors are going to Argyle West. We're going to Jerry. It's fine. They're both wonderful schools, but I would love to just see a decrease in the disruption to all of our children and all of our families. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes public forum. Again, public forum speakers are transcribed and put on the district website, and if there are questions or comments or anything that the district can add, those are added as well to the transcription. So, okay, we will go on to the consent items. Yes. No donations. Yep, there they are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to pull them up, or you got them? Okay, January 2025 donations from JRE PTA, $285 for teacher pay teacher, curriculum, and Texas Bureau for the JRE Garden. First Rate Inc., $1,500 for JRE STAR testing materials. Hilltop PTA, $2,350 for field trips. Total January donations, $4,135. Does anyone have any questions on any of the consent items?
Are we pulling?
Yeah. D. Yeah. D. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment to pull 8D, as in dog.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve with the amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McDowell with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, we have our construction report. Mr. Cohen?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, our construction update tonight, we've got, first shot here is looking to the north on the home side for the new stadium. So we're looking out over the parking lot in this view. Contractor has started with the lime stabilization process last week, and that'll be ongoing. And we should see some paving probably start in the next couple of weeks on the parking lot here. Also in this picture, in the center, you can see some little orange dots kind of in that gray area. That's the grandstand. So all of those piers on the home side have been poured. Behind that, the press box foundation, the grade beams have been poured. And then on either end, they are forming grade beams for the concession stands on the home side, and those may be poured the end of this week. This shot, we're looking at the visitor side parking lot again, kind of looking north, a little northwest. You can see the field events that were recently completed for the start of season here in the foreground. We've got 2 shot put areas. You can see one discus on the right-hand side, the other one's a little further right. And we've got the new pole vault runway with high jump pad at the end, and then a long jump, triple jump, double runways there. The shot, we're looking west over the indoor activity center. So this orange dirt you see here, that's the select fill cap that goes on top of the moisture conditioning that they did. They excavated 12 feet down and then had to add water and then recompact that dirt, bringing that back up. And then they've got a 2-foot cap of this orange material on top. So pier drilling should be starting there as soon as the weather allows. In this photo, we're looking back over the home side again, this time from the north looking south. You can see much better in this photo the grade beam forming on one of the concession stands in the foreground that we hope to be poured this week. Just some of our milestone dates. We're still looking at start of, in spring, starting the installation of pre-engineered metal building for the indoor activity center. Our press box structure should start, and we should see some grandstands. We'll start on the visitor side while they're working on the press box on the home side, and then they'll go from the visitor side to home side. Still targeting substantial completion of November, and of course working every way we can to try to speed that up and hopefully get this done sooner. Coming up, just wrapping up some of the underground utilities. They're very close now. We'll finish drilling the piers, and they'll begin the paving pours, and that'll be what we see happening over the next few weeks.
Jeff, are they using the field events?
They have not yet, but they are getting ready to. I don't know exactly when they will start, but it is ready for them to use.
I know there's protective fencing around it, but
There is.
I assume POG and safety understand like those are being utilized. That area is being utilized, even though it's on the other side of the fence. That students could be very close to that boundary right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Well aware. It's talked about weekly at their meetings with their contractors.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to the middle school update. Here we're looking out over the new football turf field and track. So they're doing the moisture conditioning over that area before they bring in the granular base and start that. That's one of the areas that they plan to wrap up probably by summertime. So we hope to kind of have this whole southern end of the site wrapped up, landscaping installed, so kind of a finished look from the road as you're going by while they continue to work on the buildings to the north. In this shot, we're looking out over the actual middle school building pad. So that square you see in the middle is actually where the courtyard will be, and then the orange colored dirt is the select fill cap on that particular building pad. Off in the background, far left, you can see our detention pond, which is currently a retention pond, and it works. It's full of water. This is another shot looking east, out over the building pad. They have started to drill some piers. That started back in December. It's been slow progress with the cold weather, and then the snow that we've been having has made that progress a little slower than anticipated. But as soon as that goes, we'll have several rigs running at once out there. The shot again, we're looking to the east. Here in the foreground, you can see some equipment, and they're finishing up some storm sewer right there. And following that blue fence you see in the bottom of the photo is where our western drive will come in, kind of following that fence. So they've actually been putting that to grade, and we should see that paving begin sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So looking ahead, hopefully over the next month, we'll have all the building piers finished. They'll be moving over to the tennis court area to do the moisture conditioning there. We'll start our parking lot and fire lane paving. They are scheduled to begin the precast fence, the buffer wall that we've got on the north and east sides with the residential zones. The material's on site, just waiting for the weather to cooperate so we can get started. They'll begin digging and pouring grade beams on the building and starting the MEP underground in the building pad. Some milestone dates that we're tracking, looking to have the slab completely poured by March this year. We've been storing steel in the fabricator's yard, so that's ready to go as soon as we have a slab to stand it on. And our substantial completion date is currently July of 26. Any questions?
How you feeling about things right now?
Yeah, I feel pretty good right now.
Okay.
A little too early to be scared yet. So we need to get past some of this weather. February is usually a little better, maybe a little rainier, but not as cold.
Yeah.
So once we get past the cold, that will help.
Anything abnormal come out of the snow?
No, nothing abnormal. I mean, it's a lot more rain in a shorter amount of time. It's kind of the equivalent. When you have 6 or 7 inches of snow, it's kind of the equivalent of several inches of rain in a few hours' time. But nothing that we weren't prepared for. It happens every year a little bit. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Dr. Carpenter.
All right, so I will start with a few celebrations and then provide some district updates. So we've had some big fine arts celebrations over the last few weeks, if you will, throughout the month of December, first part of January. We had Argyle seniors, choir seniors, Matthew Garfat and Griffin St. James. They were named to the 2025 Texas All-State Tenor Bass Choir. That is a huge accomplishment. Over 70,000 students in Texas compete for that, so annually, and only 500 available spots. So we're very, very proud of them. They will be heading down to San Antonio in February to perform with choir students from around the state. And then also we had Aiden Nom, Bradley Gover, and Ethan Duncan, All-State Band. So very proud of them as well for their contributions and in that competition level. So congratulations to our All-State Band and Choir. And then we had Leah Chaw place 5th at the UIL State Congressional Debate. She was a fierce competitor. She broke into finals as a junior. That is very uncommon. Typically it's full of seniors, so we're very proud of Leah and her accomplishments at the state level with Congressional Debate. And then our middle school cheer team placed 2nd at NCAA December competition. And then just this past weekend, our Argyle High School UIL cheer and spirit team competed at the state championships. They also made the finals, meaning they were in the top 20 in the state and finished 11th. So very proud of the cheer spirit team. Did a great job at the UIL state competition. Girls basketball, they're playing actually probably about right now, finishing up. They are ranked number 5 in state right now, leading the district. They're very exciting to watch. Had the opportunity to go see them the other night over in Grapevine, and then they played on that Saturday when we had the snow. So really fun watching the girls play, and then our boys are sitting second in district. So if you haven't had a chance to go out and watch the basketball teams, I would encourage you to do that. Wrestling has district meet coming up, and then soccer is well underway, and it is prime soccer season when it's 29 degrees out and they are playing. So they played yesterday, and the boys played yesterday, and the girls have played today. So the weather does not stop soccer. So congratulations and kudos to them. And then finally, from an elementary perspective, we have the UIL competition on January 31st. And we have such a large elementary UIL population that we host our own at the First United Methodist Church, and it's just Argyle competing against Argyle because we have so many students. So that is the pipeline to the future of our UIL state academics, and so we're very, very thankful for our UIL sponsors and students and families that compete all the way at the elementary level. From a district news standpoint, we did receive official notice coming back from the Christmas and winter break about Brookview. So that is the new name for the housing development that's going to go in behind us here to the south of our facility. It's made its way through the town of Flower Mound. They sent us an official notice, the town did. It's going to have 713 buildable single-family detached residential lots, 280 single-family townhome residential lots, and 1 multifamily lot. So that is the information we have from them at this point, but it is, they're calling it Brookview. And then last week, staff and parents received an email regarding our snow days. So we did miss 2 days right after we got back from the break, and their impact on the instructional calendar. So the state law requires minutes a year for instructional minutes, and we have minutes built into our calendar to cover all of Argyle High School. We're about 90 minutes short for the other campuses, but we are working on a plan to cover that after spring break. So with that being said, if we have any additional bad weather days or disaster days coming up, we intend to keep our bad weather days on the calendar, and we would look to TEA for waivers. But right now, we don't have to face that, but if we do, that would be our next step in our next plan. So that email that went out last week should explain that for families. I know they want to know about those bad weather days and if they have to make those up. We also have the privilege, as you met the Teacher Advisory Council earlier this evening, we also have our Student Advisory Council coming over Thursday. They will be here. We have several topics we sent them to discuss. They're gathering information from their peers on campuses and bringing that back, so we'll be talking through some of those topics. And then last Thursday night, our Bond and Growth Planning Committee finalized their recommendation for potential growth, for a potential bond package for the May election. So we know the student growth continues, and we must prepare for that, instructional spaces, facilities. So they will be presenting a recommendation to you as trustees on January 30th. So we'll have a special meeting on the 30th, which is next Thursday. And I just want to thank them all again. Their time and talents, they are an incredible group of people. We had 30 solid people come back to the reconvene, and they hammered out a recommendation, looked at some data points, reviewed the voting data from last year, so they'll be bringing a recommendation to the board next week. And then Ms. Stewart, we are already working on preliminary budget discussions, and so she will have a solidified budget workshop dates during the February meeting and kind of that budget calendar. So that's coming your way as well. And finally, from a community engagement standpoint, we had Eagle Ambassadors last week. This happened to be not only School Board Appreciation Month, but this is also the month that they learned more about the role of a school board member. So we had our board officers, Slayton and Slayton.
Okay. All right, I just want to clarify for the record.
Mr. Hawksworth was not with us.
Mr. Hawksworth was not here.
Officers Slayton and Slayton joined us and spoke with our Eagle Ambassadors, and then Ms. Stewart led them through a School Finance 101 session. And so we really appreciated their time in that. And then legislative 89th session kicked off last week. So on Tuesday the 14th, they kicked off. We actually held we weren't in Zoom, we were in Google Meets or something today with Representative Andy Hopper. So I appreciated him jumping on with us today. He spent about an hour with us asking some great questions, not only from a financial and school budget perspective, but he asked questions about teachers and experiences they're having in the classroom and the challenges they're facing. And so it was very thoughtful and intentional questions. So we appreciated that. And we are going to be going as a district to the Capitol February 26th. And we already have our appointments set up and confirmed on the calendars. And we will be meeting with Senator Parker. And then we'll also meet with Representatives Buckley, Hayes, Hopper, Little, and did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. I think that's everybody. So looking forward to that. We've already got them confirmed, like I said, on the calendar. We're taking some community members, we're taking some staff, some teachers, and some 2 board members, trustees Westrom and Arthur will be joining us, and we're going to go down on that day for Argyle ISD's Day at the Capitol. So looking forward to that. We are hosting our first legislative lunch and learn. We're going to do a YouTube Live this Friday. I believe it's scheduled for 11:30. And so it's kind of a kickoff to the legislative session, where we've been, where we are, where we intend to go with that. And we'll be doing probably a series of 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of those this spring, depending on how the session's going. So want to keep our community engaged with that, with our Take Action Argyle, as we move forward in the legislative landscape. And so finally, a couple things I did want to say. I know just quickly off of the public comments, we are aware that we have more students than projected. So I know we had some comments about that, which indicate more revenue, and you're actually going to hear an agenda item this evening that talks about that. The preliminary stages, that's one of the things that we've been talking to our teachers about. And so we have some ideas to help them the rest of this spring, and then next month Ms. Stewart will talk about budget amendments and different things as she kicks off the budget planning process. So just wanted to let you know of that. As far as JRE is concerned, we've known about those projection numbers being over since school started, actually since the end of July. And so we've compensated for that. We have added 4 classroom teachers at JRE. And then Ms. Tolis has, she asked if there's anything else she needs, but she's had everything she needs on that campus. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood we were well aware of them being over the demographer's projection, and we have actually added classroom teachers over there, 4 currently, and potentially could be adding another one. So we've been giving to that campus the classroom teachers in the sections that they've needed. As far as zoning, we did discuss at length in November, December in the board meetings. So there's a lot of content back on those, also in the presentations. What the demographer recommended, what he did. We looked at a north-south line, like down the 407. We also looked at a kind of a hybrid 407, Old Justin line. You know, looking at different things, and so those board meetings will explain the why behind that, because those were in some of the feedback forms, and why those options just aren't feasible. So I would encourage, if you haven't listened to those, make sure you do. But the hand we're dealt with is we're using the facilities and the locations that we have in those campus pairings, and we do have some limitations in this district. That's not anything that we've shied away from discussing. We are, we just bought the land and closed on the land over here in First Ranch, but we need more land, and we need more land so we can provide some of our campuses and maybe some more desirable locations. But it is what we have right now, and so that's what we're doing is to plan with what we have, and then hopefully we will have additional bond funds to look at other land, potentially other school sites in the future. So that's all for the superintendent's report.
All right, a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So, as it relates to enrollment, I think the added enrollment is going to add more revenue to the district than we were projecting when the budget was approved. So
Correct.
That's accurate.
Yes.
And that the administration has known that, and has actually put some of that revenue in play.
Correct.
This year.
Correct.
Already.
Yes, and I'll show that too.
So it's the budget is actually a deficit budget. So the first thing is you're going to make sure you can get to a balanced budget with the added revenue, right?
Right.
And then the additional revenue, just want to make sure we're not sitting on it.
Correct.
You're added 4 teachers at JRE.
Correct.
I think you added 1 at Hilltop, and you may have added more. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to show those in a minute.
just to reassure the community that money is that we're anticipating coming in from the state, from the added enrollment, is being put in play today, and there's discussions, I hope, going on about how to even add more support for the addition. Okay, and
Yes,
so
sir.
the other thing, and I just want to make sure that this isn't accurate. JRE, JRE has all the tools and equipment and everything they need, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if there's something that, like is there something that other schools have that JRE doesn't because of finances?
Not to our knowledge. It has
Okay.
not been requested from the district, if that's the case.
Okay. I just
mean,
want to
Ms. Tolis, the campus principals are responsible for their budgets. They are the owner of their campus budgets.
Okay.
So they are responsible for making decisions of what they spend their money on, what they ask their PTA or PTOs for. And we looked at all of those today because we're halfway through the year and she's right on target with half of her budget. She spent half of it, so she still has about half of her budget left to spend.
So if JRE doesn't have the tools or the equipment that other campuses have, it would be because of the campus principal has made a decision on how to spend that budget.
Correct.
Okay. So if there's a disparity in that sense, it's because of just,
Right.
and there may be good reasons
Right.
for that.
Yes.
Okay. I just understand how that works. Thank you.
And I have a question too. When you talked about, zoning, you mentioned zoning. I mean, when we built and put a new school on the ground, like say we did JRE, we had to change the zoning. When we are looking at the two high schools, we had to change the zoning from what it obviously is now if we have two high schools. So I'm going to assume that when we build another middle school, that we're probably gonna look at changing zoning again, possibly? When we
Well,
build the second middle school?
The second one's tied to the one we, the second high school, second middle school are tied to the same zoning right now. That's what was approved in December.
Okay.
But we'll have to rezone, obviously, when elementary 5 opens.
Right.
And then in elementary 6. So I wasn't here when you all zoned for south, but my understanding is you zoned for south. The exact same thing happened to south. This is JRE, correct?
Yes.
Busted day one.
Right, day one. So this was not, it may be new to those who have small children, but this happened when south opened, is my understanding.
It did.
Okay.
It did. Yeah.
So
And adjustments had to be made. Okay, oh, you would know, you were
is
there.
that right, Dr. Jordan?
Yes,
But I do, so yes, it did happen, but I would hope that we could work with Zonda
yes.
to better understand that, so we limit that in the
Right,
future going
and
forward.
that's, I think, what we did this fall, once it happened, and we went back and had him re-geocode everything, and that's when he was using 0.8, they were using 0.8 as the yield, because that's what the harvest yield was. And when they re-geocoded, the ridge was yielding at 1.0.
Right, which is unheard of.
Right, correct. And then we had additional pre-K sections over there. And then we also had the temporary transfers that this district has always accepted since 2019. We didn't last year because there was no space, opened it back up this year. And so that was another 40 to 45 students over there. So we were able to come up with the overage based on the geocoding, the pre-K, and the temporary transfer numbers.
Temporary transfers meaning staff.
No, those that are in the process of building housing.
And it's never ideal, but there's going to be an adjustment, as everybody
Sure.
understands, for the disparity in enrollment, which was similar to what we did in South. The year after it opened,
Right.
there was an adjustment made to handle that CTSP. But to go back to what Leona was saying, and maybe a point of clarification, we're gonna have a second middle school in 2026.
Correct.
We will be a 2 middle school
Yes.
district in 2026, and we have zoned for
Right.
that. And those 2 middle schools are gonna be basically 377 and 407
At that time.
at that time. And because we have no money to build a brand-new second middle school, that's gonna be the way the district is until 2028, 2029.
Nine at the earliest.
At the earliest, 'cause even if you pass a
assuming the bond
bond,
passes.
Assuming it's on a bond and assuming it passes.
And
Yeah.
assuming that there's not a different land location chosen too by that
so
point.
the two middle schools that we will be functioning with as of 2026 will remain that way through 2029 at least.
At the earliest, correct.
Okay.
And while we do have the first ranch land that we've closed on, that doesn't guarantee that that's the next middle
next
school
one.
site. It's just it's enough for a middle school site.
Sure.
Could be middle school 3.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, it's
We're
me
on to
again.
you again.
Excellent. Okay. So yes, Mr. Herron, will you pull? Okay. So we did talk about the Superintendent Teacher Advisory Council, and one of the last things that we gave them late November, first part of December, was to go out. I gave them a series of about 3 kind of open-ended questions. Asked them to go meet with their staff, their colleagues, their peers, talk about questions about what immediately did they need that they didn't have this year that they might have had last year, what were some ideas, creative ideas, conventional, non-conventional, that they could recommend for retention ideas that would make people want to stay in Argyle in the midst of our challenges right now, as we all know that we're going to come out of eventually. And so they did. They went and spent time with their staff and then met with us in mid-December right before the break and gave us a lot of ideas. We went through and themed those. Some of those things are things that do not need board action, but obviously we want to discuss those with you, and then some of those things will need board action. So, Mr. Herron, if you'll pull up that next document, please, it's in board book. Well, you may not be able to see it.
I didn't see it.
Okay, hold on. We'll do this right here. Okay, I'm going to share it with you, and then you can pull up a second tab. Is that okay? Does that work? Apologize for that.
And so what is this word?
So we're talking about the Teacher Advisory Council. This is the feedback they provided and how they could better, what we could do to help them, support them this spring and into next year.
So these are the things we've been talking about.
Yes.
I know that on our board walks, when we
Yes.
get a chance to
Correct.
visit,
The
when
feedback
we're
you've
going
collected.
through the campuses and we're talking to them, we're saying, hey, we know the Vader didn't pass.
Right.
So, you know, we didn't have that extra fund, or we don't anticipate, but are there other things we can do?
Correct.
And this is, okay.
This is it. And this is also in response to the questions about the additional revenue from overage
The overage,
enrollment.
putting that money in
Yeah.
play, not sitting on it. Okay, good.
Did it not come to you? Okay, I tell you what. I am going to go in, give me 1 second. I'm going to, I don't know why it's not doing that. Will you refresh in 1 moment?
We'll take a quick break and get it done.
Well, I don't know why it's, where it's acting up here a little bit.
Yeah.
I really thought you'd take advantage of
It's
this
like
time
it's
and
logged me
ask more
out.
questions.
I can fill the time with talking.
Okay. All right,
No
so, Mr. Herron, I shared this with you. It should be the second tab. You got it now? Okay, perfect.
I'm too humble for that.
Okay. This is the one that says for board meeting, 01/21/25. So if you'll pull that up and then shrink it to where we could, yeah, or I think that's, column E is the last column. So as long as we can see A through E, we're good. So you mentioned that we passed a deficit budget. So we did, and so within that deficit budget was the 400,000. We tried to do the budget reductions, but then we also had the one-time stipend, and the, what else was in there? The health insurance increase and the bus driver raises, correct? So bless you. So that was a 1.29 million was the budget deficit. So if you take that out of what the additional revenue would be with our overage, that allows us to have some flexibility. It was about 1.9 is what that took up. So if we go in and look at these feedback themes here, these were the main themes. Time to plan. They wanted time. They need time with their teacher teams, their time with their content teams. Time is absolutely always a thing that our teachers need. And the reason is because over time, the added responsibilities of Tier 3 intervention, as we don't have our intervention specialists, special ed and 504 paperwork, as our numbers, enrollment numbers there are rising, and then planning with new curriculum. All of our ELAR has the new curriculum, so they're planning. So those are some of the things that is the reasons why. So there's no board action required for this, but we gave our principals permission to provide half-day subs to schedule on their campus, one for the third 9 weeks and one for the fourth 9 weeks, to give their teachers time in the schedule to get together and work on the planning side of that. So those sub costs are already in our current budget, and we can take care of that without board action. Principals said that was a great idea for them and that they would get those scheduled. I know one campus had done that on their own back maybe second part of the latter part of the fall semester, and the teachers, we all were with us on the walk Wednesday, and those teachers said it was so invaluable, like they got so much out of that. So we're going to provide 2 more of those. And the other theme was intervention supported elementary. So due to the loss of the campus intervention specialist. So though we have FTEs available, so this doesn't require board action, but we want to be able to allow the elementary campuses to hire 2 paraprofessionals and each secondary to hire 1 and utilize them in their intervention supports this spring. And those positions would be for the spring only until we could build in the budget for next year and figure out what our next steps would be. But they knew that they could use paraprofessionals in those roles. And so they've been actively looking for those and recruiting on that sense. Again, that funding source is part of this budget and can be done so with the overage with our student enrollment. So that's one portion there. Special education support. So we've had one of our themes was due to the increasing individualized needs of our special education. Y'all are hearing that when you're in our classrooms, when you go to our life skills classrooms, and the program enrollment growth. We have FTEs still available based on what we absorbed through attrition last year to add a section for XE, which is our 3 and 4 year olds special education classrooms at South, and to add a section for life skills at West. Those numbers have grown. We have 2 full life skills classrooms already at West. This would add a 3rd if we can find a certified teacher. So
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
Is this stuff that we're doing right now, or is this stuff we're doing next fall?
No, we're in the right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Class sizes. So enrollment growth beyond projections. That we keep hearing that from them as well as elementary. So this is just a list right now of teaching positions we've already added this school year. We've added 4 at JRE, we've added 2 at Hilltop, and we're adding we've added a life skills aide and an XE aide at South. Those have already, well, it says in progress, but we're getting close to being done with those. Those are already added onto our classes since the beginning of the school year. They've happened from August until this point. There's a chance we may have 1 or 2 more. Again, those FTEs are available. They're in there. So with our enrollment revenue, we can actually put those. We've got the room for that. Had we not had that extra growth, we wouldn't.
Can I make another point?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
some districts just get waivers.
Correct.
And they just say, hey, we're going to go beyond, we're just going to keep increasing sizes. But one of the things y'all are doing is saying, hey, we're not just going to get waivers and finish out the year and then bring on FT. You're saying, let's do it right now.
Right. And when we're talking to districts around us or even others across the state, they're not able to do this because they didn't have the enrollment growth that we did.
Got it.
And then additional compensation, so no percentage raise for the 24-25 school year. The board did approve a one-time supplemental payment approved last June. This would require board approval at a future board meeting, and that would be to consider allowing a portion of the revenue from the enrollment above the demographer's projection to fund an additional one-time supplemental retention payment in May. And so Ms. Stewart's going to talk about that next month when she comes. And then DEC local, that's our leave policy. And so this was another theme about just having some additional personal health and well-being days available to staff. They get 5 currently by board policy, 5 personal days. And so we're going to, it would require board action. And so Dr. Daniel's going to bring this when the update 124 comes to you anyway, about considering adding 2 additional local days per year to each staff member, which would give them 2 additional personal days to potentially take off if they needed just some time to themselves. So that'd be from 5 to 7, and then consider approving 3 days of bereavement. You heard about that last month, but we'll roll that all into the same policy for immediate family, and then consider adjusting the maximum number of days from 3 to 5 for consecutive leave allowed. So right now, if a staff member needs to take off because they have a wedding or maybe a spouse has a trip they want to go on them with, 3 days is the only max, and then they're docked after that. We would change that to 5. Because sometimes trips are a week long, and so we want to, and we've heard that feedback from them, and so we would, that would require board approval at a future meeting. So if you could kind of scroll over to column E, Mr. Herron, you'll see there that those amounts are listed, and everything's funded by the overage of enrollment, and you take out the paying back the budget deficit that you adopted, and these things will pretty much take up everything that we basically are putting everything back into the classroom or 2 teachers that has been made in the revenue and enrollment growth for this year.
But that still keeps us at the deficit.
Yes, that's after. This is after putting paying the deficit back.
No, after putting it back.
Yes, after.
This is
Yes,
on
sir.
top.
Let me be clear.
Okay.
After paying the deficit back, this is on top of that.
Does this repay
money we borrowed from the fund balance?
1.29, that right there. Yes, that is the fund balance payback.
Okay, so we'd have a balanced budget this year?
Correct.
And added all this back,
Correct.
which is,
And so, and the reason I'm happy to hear that the administration, and I know this was, you know, the board was, y'all talked to us about on boardwalks, is that I don't wanna get to the end of the year and then celebrate that oh, look, we paid back and we have a surplus.
Right.
And, you know, we're all celebrating how great our books are, but we know that surplus is on the backs of the teachers that suffered cuts in higher classrooms. I'm glad to hear, I'm glad to see this. I hope looks like it's a lot of people to bring in. And it sounds like a tall task for Chris and HR, and I hope you're up for it.
So the fund balance was 1.29, we talked about, and then all of these things here, except the one-time retention bonus, would be 1.9, about 1.9, right at 2 million, and then that would cost us about 560. And that would pretty much take up everything that Ms. Stewart's expecting in the overage.
great.
So we did know that the additional students were bringing additional revenue.
Yes,
Okay.
now we know that. Now that they're all here, yes, we did know that.
Thank you.
And we started seeing that. We just, until you get through the fall, the snapshot date, and you're checking all those, verifying all those numbers, you want to be a little bit cautious. But we knew enough that at that point, we felt like we'd go ahead and get some of those classroom teachers for those sections that were growing. But the rest of this is based on teacher feedback.
Right.
Coming from
The council.
them directly, from the council.
And since the start of this semester, has there been an elementary campus that has not added students?
Everyone has added students. We had 75, 76 students day one from the second semester before the snow hit. So, and every campus has seen them. We had 7 in one grade level at Hilltop, it was interesting. So yes, there are lots of new families.
One thing I heard on my walks, and it's not in this list, in walking with you, and it was really at the campus leadership, vice principal level, is behavioral support. You know, it seems like that's just something I heard consistently from campus to campus is behavioral support. And you hear a lot at the state level, you know, we need to support these teachers by, you know, making sure that they don't have behavioral challenges, and we do. I mean, is that coming up in the advisory council?
Yes.
That too? Okay.
And I should have clarified, we're bringing you the short-term springtime, that's on our long-term.
Okay.
So we have that on the long-term list of how we can plan for that moving forward into next year. The
Yeah,
behavior
because,
specialist.
you know, one of the things I'd like Argyle to be known as is a district that, you know, doesn't necessarily tolerate behavioral disruptive in the classroom, that teachers know they go here, they got the support. And I think it's a good teacher retention, it's a good teacher recruitment to know that when you have problems, and, you know, we have good behavioral support and options to handle that.
Something else that's not on, go ahead.
I was just saying, I just clarify, there's a difference between poor behavior and there's a difference between behavior that's caused through mental health struggles. And so supporting our teachers in that, to say we're not gonna tolerate poor behavior and it's a child that struggles with mental health issues that can't help it, we wanna support our teachers and support the kids and support the entire classroom. I just wanna clarify, there's a difference between outright bad behavior and then just behavior that's uncontrolled through some mental health challenges.
And one thing that's not on here, we did turn 2 teacher work days, the December and January teacher work days into virtual work days. We gave them that time back to balance professional and personal duties, and we did receive a lot of feedback from teachers saying how helpful that was, because, you know, whether it was a spouse that was having a surgery and they could do their lesson plans from the waiting room or whatever, they were able to balance those 2 things, and it meant a lot to them. And so with that being said, we are going to turn our February 17th teacher workday into a virtual workday as well, and I'll announce that to them.
Just now.
Just now. There you go. They have. There you go. Surprise.
And that wasn't a surprise.
That's right. February 14th is a professional development day, which is a Friday, and then that Monday will be a work day. So we will design that we'll give them that as a virtual work day. So they'll have another one of those coming up in February.
And that's great feedback that I know Mrs. Artho and Mr. Slayton and I got on our boardwalks last week. Like, truly appreciate that virtual option. Like, that helped a lot of people in specific scenarios that we weren't aware of.
Sure. Okay, so next month, you want to talk a little bit about what you'll kind of bring next month, and then for the things they do need to approve, and then the budget process.
Yes, ma'am. So we'll bring our budget amendment forward next month. We're still working out on a few of the expenditures, what function they fall in and everything, but we have the revenue worked out on that. So you'll be brought that for approval, and then the additional compensation would require approval as well. And that would be a separate item, that as well as DEC local that Dr. Daniel will be bringing forward at a future meeting for approval. But essentially, from everything that has been listed here that requires dollars, and from everything that we've gathered from our first semester FTEs and ADA reports, is that we'll be able to bring a balanced budget amendment with all of these additional considerations. So we were looking at I think 263 is where we're at right now for ADA in addition from where we budgeted. So that's not enrollment,
Right.
but that's
Which is-
average daily attendance.
which
So
is what
that's
we're funded
we'll
on,
be-
right.
Correct. That's what we'll be increasing our summary of finance report for, that flows into our revenue, into our budget amendment. And that also takes into account all of our special populations that, we budget based on trends and things like that, but you've got you've got dyslexia and special ed and your CT and all of those. So we've updated everything for the fall semester, made some predictions as well for going into the spring, and that's what you'll see next month on the budget. And that's where we'll generate, the majority of the revenue adjustments are from that. There's a little bit where we're gonna downgrade some, a couple of smaller areas, but it'll all wrap into about a $2.5 million amendment.
That's great.
Well,
So-
I appreciate all the hard work you guys have done, because this stuff isn't easy, and when it comes as not a surprise, because I know you're always having your eyes peeled and open, but when you can actually put hard numbers to paper and put that together and get creative and talk to the teachers, talk to one another, and, what are you able to do? And I know we've passed a deficit budget, 2 years in a row? So it's really nice to be able to turn around and say, we're making it a balanced budget, plus we're giving back to the teachers and the kids, which is very important. So I appreciate your hard work in that.
I think something else you said reminded me that, a lot of people look at, we have all these new students and we're getting extra funding, and we do, but we don't get it on a per.
Right.
It's not based on enrollment, it's based on attendance.
Right, ADA.
So just because you have 500 new students and we have our attendance works out to the equivalent of 300 new students, that's what we get paid on.
That's correct.
So it's
Any
not,
of
it's
the
not,
revenue we do based on our attendance.
right.
It's not a one-to-one.
It's not a one-to-one deal. Yeah, one day, right?
And we've been hoping the
One
legislature
day.
could change their mind.
We're one of only 6 states
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
You keep saying it. Did he say that today was one of his top
We did not
priorities?
discuss that one. We'll save that one for our trip.
Dr. Carpenter, I appreciate you creating an environment that they can be candid with their feedback. And for somebody newer on the board and doing the boardwalks, getting the feedback and seeing how committed they are to you with that information is great. So I appreciate all you guys do in working towards those numbers.
The most important thing is you always know in an organization that you will have employees that don't want to share necessarily how they truly feel. Understandable, have no problems with that, and what this council does is it allows them to talk to their peers in a way such that it's, the environment's just more inviting for that. And so they don't feel like they still feel like they can, if you are one of those that doesn't want to share with administration, or you're fearful of sharing how you really feel, they can say that to a peer, and the peer can be the one to help, relay and be the conduit and with that. So it's I think it'll be really good for us as we continue to move forward, but they have been invaluable to us this fall as we've rolled this out. So.
Perfect.
Hey, Stuart.
So,
Next item is for bus purchases. We talked to you earlier this fall, and you approved some purchases of buses, 377 passengers and 154 passenger, and that was for, we talked about this year and adjusting some of our routes for overcrowding for this year, and that would be bringing back another item for buses for the next year. So this is actually planning for the 25-26 school year. We're looking at 4 buses. They'd all 4 be 77 passenger, which those are your regular route buses. These would be out of the 2022 bond funds. So originally the 2022 bond had $4.49 million in it set aside for buses. To date, what we've ordered, what we've spent, expended, and what we've ordered, placed on order, we've spent just over $2 million. So we've got $2.4 million remaining, and so that's where these funds would be drawn from. And so the recommendation is to purchase 4 additional buses for future planning for next year. And we are actually recommending that from Longhorn Bus Sales. And that is for, they are not the least expensive, they are the mid-range, but I will tell you, if you ask our transportation, they'll rank the buses, the 3 type of buses. They would rank, Longhorn is number 2, but your least expensive option here would be ranked number 3, and so they would prefer that. We've done that in the past to try and keep with either our first or second choice on buses. To give you an idea of cost, so on this quote, Longhorn Bus was $156,828 per bus. In October, it was $157,784 per bus, and that's what we spent. And so we're actually saving a little bit of money per bus on this quote, on this go-around. But if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
So in October, we ordered 4.
We ordered 377 and 156 passenger.
Okay, and then this is on top of that.
This is on top of that. Those that we ordered in the fall, we were using to increase our bus fleet for now to try and reduce some of our middle school route overcrowding and add some routes there. This is actually for planning for next year because we know we'll have more routes for next year.
And will we decommission any buses, get rid of any as a
These are not
result
for
of this?
these are not for replacement. These are in addition. We do have some replacements that we're looking at for future, just not in this go round.
So we'll end up with 6 new 77.
That no.
2 and 4.
3 last time.
3. I
plus
thought one
one.
was 56. Though.
One was 56. We had 377, 156, and this is 477.
I thought it was 2. Okay.
So.
What is, just from a range, I mean, you said we didn't take the cheapest, we didn't take the most expensive, I mean, what do we rank? What
Will
is
you
this
scroll
range?
down to the second page, please? So we have quotes here from $154,555 to $160,000 per bus. We're recommending the $156,828. So it's about $2,000 a bus, or sorry, $2,200 a bus, about $9,000 total, is what the difference is.
Okay, so not a huge.
It's not as significant when you're looking at the total price of all of these buses. And you always have to put that in relative terms. You know, if you're looking to purchase a $10,000 item, $2,000 is very significant. If you're looking to purchase a bus that's $156,000, $2,000 is not as significant.
When you, I mean, do they come with warranties and all those? I mean, is that all factored in?
They all come with warranties.
All same deal?
Yes, it'd be the similar if you were going to buy your own personal vehicle and you were looking at different brands. You may have a couple of brands you prefer over others. In talking with our bus drivers and our mechanics and things, they have theirs that they prefer as well.
I noticed the lead times are a lot different.
They're significantly different, and we're going to go back to the October quote. So in October, Longhorn Bus was actually about over $4,000 more than the cheaper exception, but we needed those buses right then, and they were the only ones that could get us to us quickly. And if you go look at the Longhorn right now, they can get us to us in 3 months. Anything else, we're pushing to the start or past the start of school, so we're not guaranteed to have them in time for planning for next year.
Well, there's value in that.
There's a lot of value in that.
If you need them for next year,
Right.
then especially if the price splits the difference, doesn't quite, but is in the middle of the pack, but you've got the shortest lead time.
Right. If we're planning our routes late spring and early summer, we have to know that we have those buses available in order to plan the route.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Daniel.
So this is a resolution due to the inclement weather days we had on January 9th and 10th. And the resolution allows employees to be paid for those 2 days and premium pay for hourly employees who are required to work on site during that time. Which, how many was that?
We just have a handful of maintenance positions.
Right.
And those are just hourly.
Right.
Not anyone that is salaried.
Seems like we kind of do this every year. I knew we run into this.
Right, we've
Which
had
is
these
good.
before, right.
Yeah, totally get it.
Anyone have any other questions for Dr. Daniel? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11A as presented.
So moved.
Dr. McDade, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Lee and Artho with second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
This item is for order of the election for the Argyle Independent School District, so.
You need this read by the secretary?
Yes. Secretary Matt Slayton.
Mr. Matthews.
Hola. Wait, which one am I reading?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
can do
me.
that one. Let me do
Go
that.
ahead, try it.
Actually, let me do that one.
And this will need to be signed by everyone before you leave tonight.
Okay. Order of election for Argyle Independent School District. An election is hereby ordered to be held on Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing 2 members of the Board of Trustees, Place 6 and Place 7. The first day to file for a place on the ballot is Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. Applications for a place on the ballot shall be filed by Friday, February 14th, 2025. Early voting by personal appearance will be conducted each weekday during early voting at Denton County Elections Administration, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76201. Additional designated locations to be determined by a contract with Denton County Elections beginning on April 22nd, 2025 and ending on April 29th, 2025. Hours TBD by Denton County Elections. Applications for ballot by mail can be mailed to Elections Administrator, Denton County Elections Administrator, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76208. Applications for ballots by mail must be received no later than the close of business on the 11th day before the election day. The polling place listed below will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 for voting in a general election. And that is Denton County Elections Administrator, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76208. Additional locations to be determined by Denton County Elections. Issued this the 21st day of January 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton.
My pleasure.
I got a question. What if we just refuse to call it?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion
Yeah,
to
that's
approve,
rabbit hole.
to approve action item 11B as presented.
So moved.
So, yes.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve.
I'll
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Mr. Westrom will second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Dr. Jordan, it's kind of unfair that you have the last action item. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
What was the number?
All right, tonight's calendar is coming back to you for action. So the 25-26 calendar. Do you have any questions about it this evening? The changes that it brought was a full week for fall break, a different day for February break, which was the day after the Super Bowl. And just a reminder that this calendar is created by the DLT, which 2/3 of which are mandated to be our staff members, and they are. So a combination of staff members, community members, and parents.
And you did not receive any additional feedback, correct?
I did not receive any additional feedback, but did get good news that UNT and NCTC both have the same spring break that we do. So that was good news.
All right, good. I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11C as presented.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Western, motion to approve. A second.
Second.
Mr. McDowell with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Time is 7:51 PM and we are adjourned.